Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ryan Novozinsky, joined here as always by Sudeep Tumma. We are the football beat writers for the Ocali, and today we're going to show you the intricacies behind the game of football for the film room, our first edition of the Ocali's film room. And Sudeep, let's talk a little bit about what people can expect today from this segment and some of the plays that we're going to be breaking down. I know that there's an electric touchdown pass and maybe a sort of touchdown run and then maybe an explosion from the defense. What are your thoughts on some of these plays?
Yeah, they're great plays, obviously. And, when you watch the game, you see the great pass to Tylen Wallace. You see the sack by Malcolm Rodriguez. You see the athleticism, right? You see the explosiveness by L.D. Brown and, just a big hole created by the O-line. But today we'll break down the X's and O's to see how these plays happen and why they happen. And that will really show you how dominant this OSU team was at times.
That's right, yeah. Despite the 16-7 win, it was, at times, like you said, a very dominant performance. So, without further ado, let's roll the tape.
All right, so let's get right into it. Let's talk about Shane Illingworth and his debut at Oklahoma State University. And here he started off with an electric debut. I think you'd assess it the same way, Sudeep. He started with a 24-yard completion to the number one receiver, Tylen Wallace. It's sort of a very gritty effort all around. You had obviously great ball placement from Shane Illingworth, and then you had great tenacity from Tylen Wallace, not only in his initial move there, but sort of when he caught it at the end there too. Like, he had perfect form, even despite sort of falling into it. So I'm going to let you break it down a little bit for us here. So go ahead, tell us the ins and outs of this exciting play.
Yeah, first thing you almost see a stacked box. You see single coverage. On the top, Tylen Wallace press coverage with Ali Green. You see a single high safety above the hashes. So let's roll it from here. So first thing you're going to see here is it's almost like a power run to the left. You're going to see Chuba Hubbard go that way. You're going to see all the linemen pull or block that way. And you're going to see Riley Schneider and Tevin Jenkins pull around. And you have all the elements of a run, but there's never any fake handoff, right? There's never that play action. But you see all the linemen go that way and Chuba Hubbard. And as a result, you're going to see all these linebackers just come up a yard or two just for a second. And then watch what happens. And also, while that, like I talked about, single coverage, right, on the top, and you have a high safety. Now watch where that safety is, right? There is no way he's getting to Tylen Wallace.
Not a chance.
He is many yards away. And that's the route on the top. You see Dylan Stoner on that little out route, who's going to peel off that other cornerback. In case you have zone, you can throw it there. Or you have Tylen Wallace just running a go route, right?
Yeah, and the safety for Tulsa, too, the only person he would have a chance to get there is potentially Dylan Stoner. But like you said, yeah, even that, like his quickness would not probably be able to do that.
Exactly. So then Shane Illingworth knows exactly where that ball is going.
I think one of the things that impressed me most about Shane Illingworth was his ability to really know where Tylen was going to be right at the end. He almost placed it perfectly.
Exactly.
And as you will see in just a couple seconds.
Exactly. And you see as soon as he snaps the ball, he looks over at Tylen Wallace's side, and you see the safety start to bail that way. But he is way too far to do anything, right? And then you see he launches that ball right there and throws it up high, right to only where Tylen Wallace can get it, right? And that was the beauty of it.
Exactly. And yeah, like I said before, one of the things that really impressed me was Tylen Wallace's sort of ability to adjust to it, despite falling back, despite having all that pressure from the Tulsa corners all day. He really was poised and was able to catch it as if it was literally a routine pass. And
right.
For him, that is.
Exactly. That's the crazy thing. It's a very hard pass, and all credit to Ali Green, right? Mm-hmm. That is perfect coverage. You really can't defend Tylen Wallace any better. But still, Tylen Wallace makes a play the way Tylen Wallace does, right? All you got to do if you're Shane Illingworth, on the first play to first of all throw it that deep, that sort of takes a lot of confidence. But he throws it up to the one spot Tylen Wallace can get it.
Yeah, and if going back to like the beginning of this play, you'll see Tylen Wallace, right? You see him get that outside release like towards the sideline, and he has a very good physicality to his game.
Right.
Obviously, I mean that's his brand, and that's sort of a thing that I feel like all day on Saturday you saw. One of the reasons, and it maybe even held him back a little bit, one of the reasons that Tulsa's corners were able to get on him so much was because, I don't want to call it one-dimensional at all, because he is not. He is a very, very dynamic receiver. But he was able to, when he adds that physicality to his game, he just needs maybe a little bit more finesse moves, like on the initial snap. But like I said, this is a nitpick at most for
And
Tylan Wallace.
that's also part of how Gundy's offense is.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
You run a lot of those just hitch routes, curl routes, screens. There's not too many routes involved, which is why a guy like James Washington didn't run too many routes out of college either, right? That's just kind of what these receivers are asked to do in Mike Gundy's offense.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Tylan Wallace does at the next level in the NFL, maybe when he's in a different type of offense. But obviously, he's doing a great job with the cards he is dealt right now. And yeah, so I mean, this was obviously one of the more exciting plays of the game. Moving on, though, we also have a great run from LD Brown, a guy who really showed out yesterday. You see them; they're lined up right now in that diamond formation. And you can let's talk about for a second, Sudeep. Tell us about what Tulsa's doing on defense here.
Right now, you see this, and this is something you saw a lot with them as the game progressed. They went to stacked boxes, right? 7, 8, 9 guys in the box. Here you see 10, but a lot of that has to do with how many tight ends are on the field, right? OSU is running 13 personnel right now. That means 1 running back. You see 3 tight ends. Jelani Woods is lined up on the left. Then you got Dayton Metcalf and Logan Carter on either side of Shane Allingworth. And the reason I bring up this play specifically is they ran this same formation, this same play that you're about to see multiple times, right? Which is why I think it's so interesting. I'm not sure I saw this last year. There's maybe something Casey Dunn's really leaning on this year with how good the Cowboy backs are, right? This is, well, let's watch the next screen first.
You're right, yeah. And one thing you will definitely see here is just like you see right there, you see the 2 Cowboy backs, they got their assignment right there. It almost, so this diamond formation, it adds an extra punch to it, right? This is something Dana Holgorsen used to do in his time at OSU. And once you have these guys, right, you have the initial block from the offensive lineman, sure. But then you add a more physical punch. You add a more athletic punch from these Cowboy backs who, by the way, what a blocking performance from them yesterday. I felt like Jelani Woods was an incredible in his blocking game yesterday. But then you'll see on this play, if you'll roll the tape, you can see what happens when Dayton Metcalf can do some things as well, and he adds that other punch. Yeah,
I mean, first to begin with, this play, it almost looks like an inside zone run, but it's more of a man-to-man blocking scheme. And I know we talked about this. I stared at this for an hour. We played it, trying to figure out
that
exactly
was an interesting night.
Yeah, it's almost like a duo run scheme where you see a bunch of double teams, but it looks more like an ISO run, right? Where you got man-to-man blocking. Because first of all, you see how many guys they have in the D-line, right? Including the linebackers, you got 5 guys there. You got 6 blockers up there. And you see the double team at the point of attack where they're trying to go toward that left between Josh Sills and Jelani Woods almost. And yeah, you're going to see what Dayton Metcalf does. So it's just an ISO run up the middle, right? Then you see it, right? First, all the blocks are good. You get guys squeezed in. Then you see the 1 defender left, right?
Yeah.
1 Tulsa linebacker, 1 safety. And watch what Dayton Metcalf could do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Logan Carter.
Oh, that is Dayton Metcalf.
Yes,
but one of the...
One block, and LD Brown is gone.
Exactly. There he goes, and you see those long strides there. You see all of that happening there, the quickness of him, the bigger size.
You see that block one more time.
Yeah, let's check it out there from Dayton Metcalf. To his left is Jelani Woods, too.
Right.
You will see his consistency on blocking there. And that he just adds that extra punch there, and boom goes the dynamite. There goes LD Brown, the quicker, the bigger LD Brown, the guy who's a very nice guy, as you and I have noted many times today. But unfortunately, this for him, this touchdown did not count.
That was the one that didn't count.
Right.
But there was a lot to see, right? Aside from the Reich-Schneider holding, which I personally don't think affected the play too much.
No.
I think LD Brown could have possibly gotten into that hole anyway and would have gotten that run anyway, but it was just impressive because you saw that same formation several times. I saw it once where they ran 12 formation, where you had Tylan Wallace on one side, Dylan Storr on the other side. You had 2 tight ends in the backfield next to Shane Allingworth, but you had no Jelani Woods on that edge. But at the same time, it was the same concept. It was actually the one play that Chuba Hubbard scored a touchdown on that first drive. And I think that's something we're going to continue to see throughout the season.
Definitely, and at the risk of not sounding like a buffoon here, I do want to bring up this, and I'm glad you brought that up about Reich-Schneider. I didn't think it was that impactful on the play either, because I mean, obviously, like you said, we saw this the next play too. You saw LD Brown could have broke through for another TD, I guess his first TD of the game it would have been. But yeah, the way Reich-Schneider blocks, he's the best offensive lineman, or I'd say second best offensive lineman on this team, rather.
Sure.
And he's up there. Him and Josh Sills, I feel like, are in similar category there. He almost blocks sometimes like he's holding them, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because he's a guy who can stay consistent on his blocks. Obviously, he's not going and tugging the jersey on the outside, but you get what I'm saying. He's a guy who really can stay consistent and can stay athletic with his guys. And low man wins, right? You get leverage on your guys, and you can get the job done. And we will see, I guarantee you, I'm calling it right now, we will see more plays like this where you can have a home run play from LD Brown this year. But moving on now, Sudeep, we're going to talk about something that I know you love, you're very passionate about. Let's talk about a little bit about this Cowboy defense as it rolls right here. Tell us what the Cowboy defense is lined up in, and talk a little bit about what they're going to do.
So this is the 4th and 24, right? That game-sealing sack. Now, I'll preface this by saying this is a 4th and 24. But what I really want to note is Jim Knowles and how he kind of moves these guys around and blitzes. First off, you're going to see, right, you got the 4 guys on the line. Then you see Malcolm up there, and I believe that's Amen at the top. And you're going to see them as the play progresses. They're going to end up having 6 on the line, right? You have 5 versus 6 because you have all your other receivers out there. And that for Zach Smith's O-line, you're sending 6 people. There's only 5 O-line. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't that simple. Watch what happens.
We check it out here. We got already, you can see from the defensive line, they're standing up right there.
And you see, and as you probably remember, Malcolm Rodriguez was the free runner here, right?
Of course.
So now you got 6 people in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you see right here.
And then right now, immediately watch what happens, right? You got 4 linemen splitting to the right, and then you've got a one-on-one on the right. And you have Malcolm Rodriguez running in free, right? Mm-hmm. This is what happens when you send 1 extra guy, but the line is not shifting properly, right? You should have 3 linemen protecting that 4. It's not going to save you forever, but that's what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. And Malcolm Rodriguez just flies in free.
And Malcolm Rodriguez, obviously, so great at finding a gap there to shoot through. But, I mean, look at that. When the gap can fit a tractor trailer.
And this is where you really screw it up because between linemen and between Zach Smith, you should be coordinating this, right? Finding out who's actually blitzing. That's part of being a quarterback, right? Calling out the blitzes. That's part of being a center, an offensive line, calling out those blitzes. In the end, you really only ran 4 guys against 5 linemen, and Cam Murray and Trace Ford bailed out.
Yeah,
that's something Jim Knowles cooked up.
And that's all part of being, just high IQ plays. You have to have that as a quarterback. You have to recognize some of these blitzes that are coming. And obviously Zach Smith not able to do it there. There was a bar obstructing my view in the press box, and I told you, I looked at you immediately. I was like, we got a safety dance going on right now. But you immediately corrected me when that had happened. But wow, what a performance that we had seen from this defense yesterday, and offense, obviously. A lot of great intricacies going on there. Any final thoughts on just what you saw and maybe what you think we can see going forward? Do you think we'll see more of that diamond formation? Do you think we'll see more Illingworth airing it out in the future?
I think so, because Illingworth already looks exciting, right? He looks like a poised, mature quarterback. Obviously, we knew about the arm strength. But yeah, that diamond formation, that full house pistol, I think we're definitely going to see that a lot more, where you can do a variety of things, right? Most of it going to be inside zone or, ISO runs, man-to-man, blocking schemes. You're going to see a bunch of different things. But it's an interesting formation because you really get your guys on the pistol, and you got all your tight ends out there, right? Those Cowboy backs who have been talked about all offseason. Now, I'm curious. They mostly ran out of that formation. I'm curious if they're going to start passing out of it.
I'd love to see that, yeah. And that was almost a marquee, like I said before. That was a Dana Holgorsen thing that he had, I want to say, maybe popularized it a little bit in modern college football, at least, when he ran up in these type of formation. And he utilized the wide receivers more in that role and get a little bit more quickness there. So I'd love to see that too. And if they can do that in the pass attack, oh my gosh, the sky's the limit for what this offense could do, and I think it really would revolve and evolve well for this OSU team that is already so talented. And I mean, I guess you can't really see it if you look at the scoreboard against a team like Tulsa, but Tulsa, like we said, is a good team. Not many people know that, and not many people know what goes in to the tape, and that's what we're going to do for you guys here in the Ocali this year. For all of this and more, please subscribe to all of our content at Ocali on Twitter and Ocali.com. I'm Ryan Novozinsky, joined as always by Sudeep Tumma. Have a great day, everybody.